So now you've seen me do a basic pitch idea from kind of just a couple of sentences to a fully built out pitch. You've seen me turn that into a social media post for LinkedIn. You've also seen me actually personalize the pitch from a podcast pitch into a specific podcast. I can also go back to that generic pitch and I can say from podcast, let's say to online publication. All right. Oops. I had some for my 10-year-old up there. Oh, that was a podcast for my 10-year-old who's a go-karter. All right, so we'll go back to this one and we'll repurpose to a publication, repurpose the pitch. And again, it's not just going to just change the template into one that is acceptable for a publication, which is very different than a podcast pitch or a TV pitch. But it's going to also just look at like, how does that information need to be presented, not only in a different template, but really differently based upon what is the audience wanting. Okay, and I'm going to hit save on that. Oops, there we go. All right, go back to personalized. And now we have, oops, there we go. There we have a generic pitch. Now I can go to personalized. Very similar to the podcast pitch. I'm going to take out some of these keywords and I'm going to say, I could do a couple things. I could look for a specific publication. If I had a journalist email, because I follow their beat, I can put the email in. But if I just do topics, let's say AI and let's say founder. And we'll do a search and that's going to pull up publications and specifically reporters, not just publications, but the actual reporters or journalists, the decision makers who you would want to be pitching to. So we've got CoinDesk, Blockworks, Clean Techne, NBC, Retail Week. Now I could go in and just look at Business Insider or Forbes or today, like here's a Forbes right here, Campaign Asia. So you really have the ability to go through and pick the publications that are going to work for you, whether that's because you're interested in getting in front of that audience or because you want that logo on your website. Doesn't hurt to have that vanity metric. And then again, it's going to look at what have they published recently? How can they tie that? How can you tie your current pitch into that article or that storyline? Polishing up. And then just like it did for the podcast pitch, we can go back and do one more look over before there we go. And I'm going to say, make the intro more to the point, less descriptive. All right. And I might also say, like, make this less mindset, make it more technical. So again, you can play around with it, save the personalized pitch, and it sends the exact same way.